Hello, my name is Becky Burks and I work for Appalachian Electric Cooperative. That's kind of a big word. We don't always say that. Sometimes we say AEC, and other times we even just say the co-op, but it all means the same thing. It's the place that brings electricity to your house. And by the time we're through today, I think you're going to know a lot more about electricity and how it works and why it's so important. And I'm speaking to you this morning from the front porch of my farmhouse in Jefferson City. And that's not usually how I spend my work day, but right now I'm home trying to stay safe, and I bet you are too. Some of your parents may be working from home, you're out of school, and we're going to take this time to be together and have some fun. And the special thing about today for me is that it involves two of the things that I really love. I love kids. They're some of my very favorite people. And I love books. Books are some of my best friends. And so what we're going to do together is have time. I'm sharing with you a kid's book. This is a book that we worked on at the co-op just for kids, and it's called B is for Bucket Truck, a co-op alphabet. And it does have ABCs in it, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But the first thing I'd like to share with you is the book's dedication. This little book is dedicated to some very special people, the children of AEC employees. Many of these co-op kids, seen here in the company of their moms and dads, will be future members of AEC. They will grow up in our service area, find their first jobs here, and a good number will no doubt settle down and raise families of their own in this part of East Tennessee. Along with the entire AEC workforce, the parents of these children take pride in their jobs and never forget who they work for. Our cooperative is owned by you and your family, your neighbors, and tens of thousands of other people in our community. We work for you. We're committed to making sure we continue to meet the changing needs of our members. We do it because we want the children and grandchildren of these young people to find meaning and value in being members of AEC. It's part of our heritage from those who founded and worked for the co-op from the very beginning, and it will be our legacy, a gift we want to leave behind for those who follow us. As you read this book, or as you read it to someone else, we hope you'll always remember that we've been there for you in the past, we're here for you now, and we promise to be here for you in the future. We're proud to be your co-op. Now, before we get into the ABCs, we're going to spend just one quick minute talking about what a cooperative is. It's an important word and one that's worth knowing more about. This is a picture of the AEC headquarters in Newmarket. The word cooperative is an important one to understand. Every single person who gets power from AEC is a member. That's an important word. You're going to hear that word a lot. Together, these members actually own the co-op. That's right. The people who use the electricity AEC delivers are the same ones that decide how the business is operated. They do this by electing a small group of folks, also members, who are there to represent their interests. These people are part of AEC's board of directors, and their job is to pay careful attention to the way things are done to make sure the co-op is providing the very best electric service at the lowest possible cost. Unlike some other types of companies that provide electricity, cooperatives are not in business to make money. That sounds funny, doesn't it? Our whole reason for being is to serve our members. We charge just enough money for the electricity we provide to cover the cost of staying in business. Anything over that amount goes right back toward making sure we have a safe, reliable electric system, one that will last for a long, long time. There's no doubt about it. Co-ops are special, and so are the people we serve. Now, let's start out, of course, with the letter A. A is for duh, AEC, the electric company that brings power to your home. We're there to keep the lights on. A is for anchor. Now, a lot of us might think of an anchor as being something that keeps a boat still when it's out in the water. But this kind of anchor is a long metal rod that is screwed into the ground. Only about a half a foot is left above ground once it's in place. Guy wires attached to the anchor help keep poles straight when they are laid out in a crisscross fashion from one side of a road to the other. A is for auger, which works kind of like a big drill bit boring into the ground to dig a hole into which a pole will be placed. B is for bucket truck, a special vehicle with a fiberglass bucket big enough for two men to stand inside of, attached to the end of a boom that can be raised and moved into place. Working from inside this bucket gives linemen easy access to high places, usually the tops of utility poles, where they can perform their job safely. And by the way, you just heard that word safely. You're going to hear that word a lot as we read this book together, because that is a very important thing to our co-op and all the people who work there. B is for breakers, devices that work automatically to clear an issue on the power line, such as when a tree limb or a bird makes contact with live or energized power lines. If you've ever noticed the lights in your home blink when they kind of go off and come right back on immediately, that probably means that a breaker has operated. Breakers help protect our electric system. And B is for boots. Linemen wear these to make climbing poles easier and safer. A steel plate or shank runs along the bottom of the inside of these tall boots, providing support all the way from the heels to the toes. C is for chocks, triangle-shaped safety devices made of hard rubber. Chocks are placed right up against a truck's tires in order to keep it from accidentally rolling. C is for community solar. Next to AEC's Newmarket substation is an area about the size of 6 football fields, filled with rows upon rows of solar panels. When the sun shines on these panels, they generate clean, renewable energy. Co-op members help care for the environment when they support community solar by participating in this program. You might be on a trip from Jefferson City to Knoxville and look over on your right past the substation there in Newmarket, and you may see these solar panels. C is for control center. Located underground at the co-op headquarters, the control center is a safe and secure place that houses the technology for taking care of our entire electric system. Now, why would that control center be underground? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if there was a big storm, like a tornado, that tore through our area and destroyed buildings, our control center is safe underground so we can keep operating and taking care of our members, even in a tornado. Operators watch storms moving into our area, monitor the electric load, dispatch line crews to respond to problems, and perform many functions remotely that help us keep the lights on. D is for drone. Have any of you all ever seen one of these? It's a remote control device that flies through the air to get a close-up look at things like poles, wires, and substations. It can also be used to survey damage after a big storm. D is for digger derrick. Also known as a line truck, this vehicle is specially made to dig holes, set poles, and lift heavy objects like poles, transformers, and reels of wire. A fully loaded line truck weighs around 33,000 pounds, and that is more than 4 fully grown African elephants. So it's a heavy truck. D is also for distribution lines. The system of wires that deliver electricity from a substation to the transformer outside your home. There are about 2,400 miles of distribution lines in AEC's service area. And if you stretched out all those power lines end to end in one long length, it would reach from Jefferson County all the way to Venezuela. So that's a lot of power lines. E is for one of our favorite words, electricity, a form of energy where electrons flow through wires that are connected to your house. This electric current is used for lighting, heating, and powering appliances. Electricity is invisible, but you can see and feel the difference it makes in your life every day. E is for education. Look for the co-op in your classroom. We welcome the opportunity to share information with young people about how electricity works and how to stay safe around it, how energy is produced, and how to use it efficiently, and how wise energy choices can help protect the environment. And E is for engineering. AEC's electric system is made up of a lot of parts, and somebody has to make sure that it all works as it should. Engineers plan and design the things we need to build power lines, substations, etc., to be able to deliver electricity to the people we serve. They are great at spotting problems and figuring out ways to fix them. I bet some of you are problem solvers. And if you are, if that's your idea of fun, you might want to consider being an engineer one day. F is for fall restraint. This special strap attaches to a lineman's climbing belt and around a pole to keep him from falling off if he should slip while climbing. F is for fuse, a device that is used to isolate a problem to a single section of line in order to keep from having a larger outage. And F is for fiber optics, tiny strands of glass that, when lit, carry data throughout AEC's system. Fiber is also used to bring high-speed internet to co-op members. And when we say tiny strands of glass, just to give you an idea, these strands of glass are so small that it would take 8 of them to be as thick as just one hair on your head. That's pretty small. G is for GIS mapping, a special kind of computer software that AEC uses to keep track of everything it takes to bring electricity to your home. G is for garage. Somebody's got to keep those big trucks rolling. This is the place where specially trained AEC mechanics service and repair the vehicles we use in our work. Servicing is when they're doing things like changing the oil and keeping up with regular maintenance, and repairing is fixing it when something gets torn up. Grounds. Linemen use a set of grounds to prevent a line from accidentally being energized while it's being worked on. Another safety measure. And here we have H. H is for harness. Attached to the boom of a bucket truck by a lanyard, this is worn to prevent a lineman from being injured by an accidental fall. H is for hooks. Linemen fasten these around their feet and the upper part of their calves, with sharp metal points called gaffs that stick out on the inside. A lineman wearing his hooks can climb a pole just like a cat using its claws to climb a tree. And H is for hard hat. AEC crews wear these while they work to protect their heads from being hurt by something heavy or sharp. I is for insulators. They serve to keep energized lines away from other things they might accidentally come in contact with, like poles, cross arms, guy wires, or anchor rods. I is for ice storm. AEC crews have to work in all kinds of weather, but ice storms are the worst. A coating of ice just a half an inch thick can bring down power lines. I is also for inspections. We take a close look at our wooden poles on a regular basis to make sure they are in good condition and are safe for climbing. We want these poles to last a long time. And this guy's taking a sledgehammer there and he's tapping it at the base of the pole to see if it sounds hollow or to see if it sounds solid, and that tells him what kind of condition the pole is in. J is for jumper, which connects the lines from one side of a pole to the other side. It's also used to attach transformers and breakers to energize lines. K is for knots. Linemen tie these in ropes in order to attach material, pull wire, and stabilize loads. There are many different kinds of knots, and each one has a special job to do. K is also for kiosk, a small structure next to AEC's drive-through lane where members can use a touch screen to pay for the electricity they use. L is for linemen. These are the men whose job it is to build and maintain power lines. They make repairs to restore electric service when equipment fails or when storm damage causes an outage. They take pride in their work, which is very hard and can be dangerous. They spend a lot of time away from their families and must work in all kinds of weather conditions. They look out for each other and keep each other safe. They may not be related, but they are brothers. L is for lightning. Along with wind, this is the biggest source of damage to our electric system. It can cause poles to catch fire and transformers to burn up. If a bolt of lightning strikes a tree limb or even the whole tree, may fall on power lines. Damage from lightning is not usually quick or easy to repair. And L is for LED, a device that produces light when electric current passes through it. Since they are energy efficient and last a long time, LED bulbs are a great choice for street lights. M is for meter, a device for recording the use of electricity. You have one of these on the outside of your house. M is for move over, the name of a law designed to keep utility workers safe when they are working along roadways. And M is for membership meeting, a once-a-year gathering of folks who get their electricity from AEC. It's always a good time with our friends and neighbors. N is for new construction. When homes and other buildings are being built, that's a great time to install plenty of insulation and other measures to improve energy efficiency. N is for night shift. AEC operators are still at work long after you're asleep to see that power is always available and to take care of any problems that might arise. N is for National Electrical Safety Code. Published every 5 years, this manual spells out all the rules that have to do with how to build power lines and how to work around them safely. O is for outriggers. These are used to make a truck level so linemen can work safely. They balance and support the weight of a truck. Crews can't start work until the outriggers are down. O is also for outage map. This online location allows co-op members to view a real-time graphic of AEC's service area that shows where the power is off. Our crews keep working until the outage map is cleared of any shaded areas. P is for pole yard. Wood, metal, and concrete poles are stored here in such a way that they can be located and loaded easily. They are separated by type and length. AEC uses poles from 30 to 80 feet long. Q is for quickly, the speed at which we work to restore power after an outage. But hey, we also work safely. R is for rubber gloves. Linemen wear these so they can handle live wires without being seriously hurt or even killed. They're made of very thick rubber and reach almost to the elbow. Linemen wear leather protectors on top of their rubber gloves to prevent damage. Even a tiny pinprick hole could be very dangerous for a lineman working with energized equipment. And R is for reliability, the commitment we make to do our very best to see to it that our members have electricity when they need it, 24/7. Whether delivering power to a small apartment, to a large manufacturing plant, or to a huge industrial operation like the zinc mines, we work hard to keep the lights on. S is for squirrels. They may be cute, but along with other types of wildlife, these furry critters often make accidental contact with energized equipment, which in turn causes power outages. S is for substation, where power comes in from TVA and where AEC begins the process of bringing it to your home. And S is for staking tech. These are the folks who make the plans and draw the designs for bringing electricity to new homes. They figure out where the poles go and what size wire to use. T is for tailgate conference, a line crew meeting that takes place at the job site before work begins. Everyone gathers at the back of the truck to talk about the work that has to be done and share ideas on how best to do it. The working foreman is there to decide who will be responsible for each task and to make sure that each job is done right and, you guessed it, done safely. T is also for transformer. Some are very large and some are small. Most are attached to poles high in the air, but you might recognize others as the green metal boxes located throughout subdivisions or outside businesses. But all transformers do the same thing. They take high voltage and reduce it or step it down to a level that you can use inside your home. T is for tree trimming, which must be done regularly in order to keep trees and limbs well away from our power lines. AEC makes sure that this work is done in such a way that trees stay healthy and the lights stay on. U is for uniform. AEC crews wear shirts that help identify them as working for our co-op. They also offer protection. For example, these uniform shirts and even the pants that go with them are specially treated so as to not easily catch fire in the event of an accident. U is for underground. Most power lines you see are up in the air, but some electrical lines are buried in the ground. They are pulled inside a flexible plastic tube, sometimes called red pipe, that protects them from moisture and damage. Underground service is used in places where there's need for a neat appearance and minimal maintenance. V is for vest. Linemen wear these so they can be seen easily. Brightly colored and reflective safety vests are super important at night or on foggy mornings. W is for warehouse. The big building where AEC stores all the materials it takes to build and maintain our electric system, from giant spools of heavy wire all the way down to tiny nuts and bolts. W is for wire, sometimes called conductor. It can be made of aluminum or copper. It can be solid or stranded. It can be pretty small in size or very large. It's the path that electricity travels to get to your house. When you look at all the wires that are strung between poles along the road, some are telephone wires or wires that bring cable TV service. But wires that deliver electricity are always at the very top. W is for weatherization, a smart way to save energy. When you seal up gaps and cracks around your home, that helps keep warm air in and cold air out in the winter, and cool air in and hot air out in the summer. X is for extra special, which describes the people we serve. AEC members are the best folks around. Y is for years of service. There have been 80 of these since the co-op was first established way back in 1940. And finally, Z is for Z's, that AEC linemen finally catch after working many long, hard hours to restore power when a big storm hits. Sometimes they work all through the night before finally getting back home to rest. A lineman who's been up all night working to get the lights back on might even be so tired that he falls fast asleep in a comfy chair instead of in his bed. Sweet dreams, sleepy lineman. Now that's all of the ABCs, but this is not the end of the book. These are all the people who are employed at AEC. It takes a lot of folks doing all kinds of different things to keep your co-op running. Some of them work inside an office. Some of them work out in the field most days. But each one cares very much about our members. You're the ones we're thinking of when we do what it takes to keep the lights on. This next part of the book tells you a little bit about why electricity is important, what life was like before it came, how AEC brought electricity to our 5-county service area, and also the changes that came about once people had electricity and the promise we make to keep electricity safe and reliable for you. It keeps your ice cream cold. It powers your video games. It keeps you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. When you zap a slice of pizza in the microwave, when you flip the light on in your room, when you charge your cell phone, you are using electricity. And if you live in this part of East Tennessee, you get your electricity from AEC, which stands for, you remember, Appalachian Electric Cooperative. Every home, farm, or business around here relies on power from the co-op to meet their needs. Back when your great-great-grandparents were alive, however, things were very different. In the days before most people had electricity, folks had to work much harder without the conveniences we enjoy today. And if they lived out in the country, things were especially tough. If they wanted hot water, for example, they had to heat it on a wood stove or in a kettle over a fire. If they wanted to be able to see after it got dark outside, they had to light a lantern or an oil lamp. There were no light switches to flip or buttons to push. Everything from cooking their meals to doing their chores to washing their clothes took a lot longer and was much, much harder than it is today. But all that changed when electricity came. It didn't just happen overnight, though. It took a lot of people coming together to say they wanted power lines to be brought out into the countryside, all the way to their houses and farms. After enough of these friends and neighbors said, "Yes, my family wants electricity too," they joined together to form something brand new, Appalachian Electric Cooperative. AEC came about in order to make people's lives better and easier by bringing electricity to those that needed it. And that's when the big trucks finally rolled down the country roads, bringing wooden poles and spools of wire. The poles were set along the back roads, the power lines were strung, and then the lights came on. Families who had never had things like a washing machine, an electric stove, a refrigerator, or even an electric fan to help stay cool on a hot summer day were very glad to have new electric appliances to make their lives easier. In some cases, folks gathered together just to see a ceiling light come on for the first time. It's hard to imagine, but this was something so new and amazing to them that it seemed almost like a miracle. Many years have passed since then, but AEC is still here, bringing power to homes, farms, and businesses who need it. Generations of East Tennesseans have come and gone, and now there are very few people left who can remember the hard times before electricity was available. Folks around here have had electricity for such a long time now that they can hardly imagine life without it. But the people who work at AEC will never forget the story of how the co-op first brought power to our communities. They know just what it takes to keep the lights on. They come to work every day understanding that the things they do are making life better for the people who live and work around here. And the very last thing to share with you is the information on the back of the book. And this explains all the resources that the co-op has available to young people, to their parents, and to their teachers. So we can come to your school to share information about how electricity works, about how to stay safe around it, about how renewable energy is important, many different topics related to energy. We can also host you at the co-op for tours where your Head Start class or your kindergarten class or your homeschool group or your elementary school class can come and meet some of our employees and see the things that go into making electricity. So to find out more about this, call the co-op or check out our website and you'll know more than you did. So that's the time I have with you to share today, and it's been really special for me. I hope you've learned a lot, and I hope you've had as much fun as I have. Thanks again, and have a great day.